committee has planned. The reason I'm going to let him talk about that first is because then I'm going to go into our annual club level announcements. And then after that, we'll let Melissa and Kim touch on anything that you guys have. If you see a random guy in the bottom left-hand corner that you've never met before, I have him right there. His name is Ben Tackett. He is my new, he's just a huge help. I guess assistant. I don't like that word. So I've got team member. How about that? I've got to come up with something different for him. So if you see him around the office, don't shy away because you think he's some guy just, creeping on our office. He actually belongs here. But thanks, Ben, for hopping on. Paul, go ahead with your rock stuff and then the announcements that you need to give.
Sure. Kim, if you can watch for anyone that's trying to jump in and the people while I do this. So with the Rock Committee, and we've got just some fantastic people. I know several of them are in here right now. Part of the things that we do is really trying to plan out the events and education for the year. So, we just had a great speaker, which it was just awesome with the building cathedrals. Whether you caught it live or got to watch the recording of it, it was great. That was something that we had kind of planned. But something else that we've been thinking about is our awards banquet. And of course, it's been kind of a crazy 2020, and there's a lot of things we was not able to do. But after much consideration and talk, we have decided that we are going full steam ahead with our awards banquet. So let me share, let's see here. Let me share my screen real quick. And let's share this. So this is the official save the date. So can everyone see that? So on March 12th of 2021, we are going to have our RE/MAX Elite Realty Awards dinner. So this is going to be we're going to start it at 7 o'clock. I think that we're going to have the location rented from 6 until 10. We've got 4 hours, so an hour to set up. This is going to be at the Copperoo, which is a really nice location down on South Broadway. It's right next to, I think, a Fairfield Inn. And yeah, it's going to be great. We're going full steam ahead. I'm really excited. It's a big enough location that we can kind of spread out the tables. But yeah, as soon as Kim will start sending out RSVPs, please RSVP and just let us know, because we want to have a really good solid head count of who is going to be there. But I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a really great time. So, oh wait, we've got Trudy there. There's Chris's iPhone. All right, sorry, just letting more people in. So yeah, so that's kind of the big announcement. I'm really excited about getting together with everybody. It's going to be, I think it's just going to be a really great time. It's going to be kind of laid back. We're going to have a few different meal options. I'm not sure what all we'll have. I think Kim will have some more information about that. But right now, you know the date, you know the time. So go ahead and mark it on your calendars, because we're all going to get together and celebrate each and every one of y'all's incredible accomplishments for 2020. Really, that's kind of about all I have. So I've got several of the Matterport tours, the spots that are open up right now. These are just incredibly, really inexpensive for what they are at 7 cents a square foot. So if you have a listing that you want to get thrown up there with a Matterport tour, reach out, let me know, and I will get you a schedule for that. So I know Kimberly Leslie has used several, and I think everyone that she's used, it's sold within like 35 minutes of getting posted. And I'm not saying it's because of the Matterport tour, but I'm not saying it isn't. So that is all I have for you guys at the moment.
Fantastic. Paul, send me the share your screen ability.
You should have it.
Oh, hold on. I do. Looky there. So in regards to the awards, what we decided to do, because we put the awards off just a little bit later, if you haven't noticed, a lot of things that are still being canceled, namely one installation that seems pretty important to some people here for LBAR, and we want to make sure that we don't we want to give it every effort not to have to cancel the awards dinner. So they pushed it out really far. And because of that, I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge everybody in their standings for the end of the year. I'm going to leave these up for a couple minutes so you can take a picture if you want to share it. We also created these with your individual photo on them. So that way, if you want Marissa to send you one with just your photo and not everybody else, you're more than welcome to request that, and we can do it. I believe she's already made them, so it should be pretty quick in response time. So congratulations. I'm trying to read my little teeny tiny screen here. Congratulations to the Executive Club for Lexington. These are agents that made in between, well, up to $149,999, from 50 to 149,999. Now, I will say this: I tried to get everybody who came in 2020. I tried to get their credit for their sales to come across. I got some, I didn't get all. So if you are new for 2020 and you think you should be higher, excuse me, then just reach out to us and let us know, and we'll see what we can do. But we worked really hard to get those credits. So the Executive Club, here you are. Congratulations. Woo! The Executive Club is the initial club starting for sales commissions earned. Then it goes up to 100% club. And let's see, the Executive Club for Richmond is Kelly, Susie Stewart, and Donna Salvador. So congratulations to you ladies. We have women leading that charge there. Then for, sorry, all these teeny tiny screens. Then for Nicholasville, we have Janice Estes, Andrea Beasley, Ruby Mason, and Pat Ciccarella. Way to go, ladies. That is a very good club to be in. Now, the next one is 100% club. These are for agents who made $150,000 to $249,999. The Lexington agents who achieved this award this year for 2020 is Caitlin, Natalie, Crystal, Brenda, Tanya, Tyann, Abe, and the Grifford team. Congratulations to you all. It's a very good club to be in. The 100% club in Richmond is Ken, Front Porch team. Way to go, girls. Cassie. Ken, I know for a fact his goal was to be in this club, so I'm actually really proud of him for doing that. He worked really hard toward that. The Front Porch team killed it last year, and then of course our owner Cassie Beach in Richmond. She is very hardworking. So good job to you guys. Then we have, I feel like I'm missing 100% club here. I think, or okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I don't want you all to see all my emails. I'll pull up my email really quick. I think I messed up and didn't pull one off.
Hey, Christy, the 100% club, I think it's 100. It starts at 100, right? I think you said 149.
It does 100 to 249.99.
Okay.
I'm well medicated today, so just understand that. I have a head cold and I'm on a lot of Dayquil. So hold on just one second. What was I looking at, Marissa?
Hey, while she's looking that up, I'll remind you guys, and I'm really excited about him jumping on, but Nick Bailey, who is the Chief Customer Officer, and I'll repeat this because I'll kind of introduce him. He's going to be jumping on at 1 o'clock, and he's going to be giving us an outlook about the future of RE/MAX for 2021. Before this, I was actually listening to an interview he was doing with RIS Media, and it is just crazy. Something he brought up, which was unbelievable, that one of the big tech stories of 2020, like number 8 was RE/MAX, and it was talking about RE/MAX buying all these technologies. So, we've kind of pushed that RE/MAX is, instead of competing with these things, they purchase all these technologies. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing what he has to say too. They did a big, he has a Tuesday morning with Nick Bailey that I listen to sometimes, and it's very good. It gives you an idea of what other people are doing in different markets. And here I have my stuff. I'll go ahead and share. Oops. Okay. So for I feel like I need a drum roll for Nicholasville. We have Tammy Guy, Tara Harrison, and Julie Tucker. Congratulations, ladies. Tara Harrison killed it. I know her goals. I know what she's doing, and I'm super excited about watching her grow this year. So way to go, ladies. And then we also have, did I get everybody for 100% Club? I did. Lexington, Nicholasville, Richmond. Yes, I did. So then you have our agent that made Platinum Club this year. That is a higher level award club, and it goes, what is it, Melissa? Because I read the other one wrong. It's $250 to $499, right?
Yes, $250 to $499.
Yeah. So congratulations to Jennifer, killing it as always. We had one person surpass this. She is an agent to be reckoned with. She's done an amazing job, even in the pandemic. She had a goal to reach the Chairman's Club, and she did it. That's any agent that's earned over 500,000 in GCI. So way to go, Crystal. I have no words. I'm completely enamored by you, how hard you work, how motivated you are, and it's a blessing to have you in our office. So thank you so much for being here. And then, of course, congratulations on this fantastic award level for 2020. So that is our award levels for the year that you will be recognized by RE/MAX. We will also acknowledge them again at the award dinner. What we're not going to tell you is we're not going to tell you the office awards, the ones where your peers choose the award winners for the ones that we do, the Elite Agent of the Year, the Star Award, the Video Superstar, those kind of awards we're doing at the awards dinner, and we are not going to post them until then. So stay tuned. It'll be very exciting to hear those winners in March. Melissa and Kim, do you have an update for the office?
My only update is I'm getting ready to send 1099s over today to our accountant that does our taxes to have those printed. So those should be in your boxes or mailed shortly. You also have access to all your expenses in Loft, but I will work on getting those all printed out for you as well. So I would say, depending on the speed of him printing them, maybe by the end of the week. If not, it'll be the following week, but I've got them ready to go. So
How are closing checks coming? Are they pretty steady still? Have we slowed down? Are we still killing it?
Closings, they're steady. They're probably not as many as they were in December. Paperwork is really lagging behind in January. Not sure. I know Kim sent out a bunch of emails today, but I'm holding several checks right now. So just waiting on paperwork to get in. So just if you're not used to it, basically once you turn in the check to me and you submit all your docs, Kim will check those and let me know if it's okay to pay if all your docs are in. And once that happens, I'll go ahead and issue your check. So that's about all I have. I'm deep in tax time right now, so this is my fun time.
Kim, you got something?
I do. So everyone is going to receive a survey in their email by the end of the day, and it is for the awards that Christy mentioned. that the peers choose. So we're doing it, just for your office. So when you receive the email, and it'll say in there, just your office. Okay, so don't choose anyone outside of it. And so keep an eye out for that. And then the closing statement letters, we'll still be doing those for a couple more weeks. If you want to have us, print out some closing letters for you, and you can send them out to your clients from last year's sales. So that's about it, really.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for those updates. I'm about to put, I don't know if Diane's on here. I can't see her, but I do see Preston. I'm about to put one of them on the spot. We've done a lot so far at Elbar just for the first, 3 weeks that we've been in under this wonderful new great ruler. Just kidding. And they have been working really hard in the tech and the MLS committee. To give you an update, we have separated the MLS committee, or we will tomorrow. It will be now a forms committee, and then it will have an MLS committee, and the MLS committee will be over all fines that are given based on breaking the MLS rules. So just know that the MLS committee will be the ones responsible for divvying out fines. If you are found to have them, they go up to, if you are found to be negligent in the MLS rules and you are fined, they go up to $5,000. So just remember that. We do not want to be the example. So if you have a question about your what you're doing on the MLS, if you're breaking a rule or not breaking a rule, please reach out to me or anyone at Elbar, and they can help you. But I know that the tech committee has had their first meeting of the year at Elbar, so I wanted to bring up Preston on the spot and get him to give us a really quick update. And then after that, I'm going to talk about Zillow for a second.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Tech committee, first meeting, and usually that's a sorting out. We have a bunch of new members, a bunch of existing members as well. Flex update, it's now in the hands of staff at Elbar to go through that. There are many, many, many classes available to take that if you're not familiar with it. I just took the 3-hour CE class last week because it's been a couple of years and I've been lagging in my knowledge. So I'm getting all my stuff transferred over to that. I think at some point, don't worry, at some point, I believe we're going to, and Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're going to transfer all your clients in a snapshot from Rapatoni to Flex, but that's still in the works. So some folks, obviously at this point, have already done all that, so they may not want that to happen. I'm not sure what the logistics are going to be, but Flex is moving. You need to learn it. You need to get on it. And at some point, we'll have Flex input once we decide what it's going to look like. I think I'm on the task force, am I not, Christy? We haven't had a first meeting yet for that, but so if you have any input on what you want on the form, do you want it to, most people say they want it to look as close to Rapatoni as they can with some corrections. And I think that's what the intent is. Other things, we're going to be auditing all our technology that Elbar pays for on behalf of the members. Trying to think just offhand what else we're looking at right now, Christine. You feel free to chime in if I'm forgetting something. But I believe the Flex transition is our biggest thing right now.
It is, and one other thing I want to touch on is that Flex and Rapatoni don't speak the same language in some areas. And one example is any new construction that does not have an age, it's listed as new construction. Rapatoni does not list that as an age. They list it as just new construction. So when it converts to Flex, it does not pick up that new construction was built in that year or whatever year it was closed. There are actually 46,000 properties that will either have to be keyed in manually by somebody. Anybody want a part-time job? Just kidding. Or they're going to have to be just put in lumps based on 1 year. So if it was sold in 2006, then they're going to just assume that it was built in 2006. So there's 46,000 units out there, or properties out there that may be potentially, labeled just a little bit wrong considering when it was actually constructed. If it was constructed in 2004, but it sat and didn't sell for 2 years and it sold in 2006, then that means that it's going to be actually 2 years older than what LBAR will label it. But there's just no way to go in and touch every single solitary listing to know when it was built, cross-reference it with the PVA. That's just, there's no way to do that in a time efficient manner. Yes, you are part of the task force. I think there's like 10 people on that task force, and what they're going to be doing is going in and trying to find out the kinks. So that way, when we do go fully live with Flex June 30th, most of the kinks will be worked out. As of last week at the executive committee meeting, they talked about they are going live in end of April, beginning of May with Flex. So you'll have 2 systems running concurrently. You'll have Flex and then you'll have Rapatoni. So that way you can dip your toes in Flex, but if you ever become in a panic and you can't find something, you can always convert back to Rapatoni. They said something about the information dragging on Rapatoni, so it won't be fully accurate because it's not going to feed back from Flex, but it'll have information in there for you, like old data that you might need for listing CMAs or whatever. So
Basically, I have a little different information on that.
okay.
What I was told by staff was that once we switch on Flex, that Rapatoni is stopped. You can still refer back to it, but it won't pick up any of the new listings because everything at that point will be entered in Flex, because they're not going to do the tedious and maybe impossible task of doing what we did for Rapatoni to transfer to Flex. At Flex, once they become the input, they're going to be the input. And that Rapatoni at that point will be a place to go back and pull back clients and do things like that. So it won't go away, and it probably won't go away June 30th, but it will be gone away as far as anything that's later than the date the switch is thrown.
Well,
That's the
June,
information.
yeah, June 30th is the last day of our contract, so I don't foresee Rapatoni being very nice and extending it without.
Hopefully it won't matter if we get in 2 months in advance, which we're hopeful. But the switch is going to end up being the switch. We may get access to it on a play around to a site that you can't actually do anything with, kind of deal like we did when we were first analyzing all the other MLS vendors. But my understanding is that once they flick the switch, then all your new data will only be on Flex. It will not be on Rapatoni. It will only be your existing information, and it will not update at all.
Gotcha. That's what I meant to say. If I said it wrong, sorry, but that's exactly what I meant.
Take will. But if there's and from a standpoint of tech committee, if there's any technology that you are or are not using, kind of update yourself and find out if you really want to use it. We did a pretty good purge the last couple of years of things we were and were not using, or the user base was so small that we couldn't justify LBAR paying for it. That was a big thing within the last couple of years that we've taken care of. So we've pared down to what we consider at least the best use and the highest use for some of these technologies, like Cloud CMA and some of these other things. There's really not much for us to go through right now except to review upcoming contracts. So down the road, we've got Supra versus CentralLock, and that's a whole nother discussion, and that's down the road, although we need to be watching it from here forward. But Flex is our big thing right now, and that's really in the hands of LBAR and the staff and folks on the task force to take a look at it, make sure we try to get the best. We're not going to satisfy everyone, but we're going to try to get the best for the most and the best bang for our buck with our technologies. And your input, by the way, is always welcome. I know that Tyann, I can speak for Tyann on this. If there's any questions you have about things that we don't know, we can find out. You may
Kelly
want
has a question. Do you know when they'll start training on putting new listings on Flex?
Well,
I don't know.
First thing we have to do is decide how we're going to do it, and it's going to be in a manic pace at some point. Now, my understanding again is, and this is from staff that has experience with using it, as well as some of our members. I know that Barry Turner has been using Flex down in Somerset for years, and he's the chairman of our committee. But to set it up so that it is familiar. If you've been using Rapatoni, we're going to try to make it as familiar as we can within the limitations of the technology with Rapatoni, at the same time making some improvements that will make our lives hopefully a little bit easier. So I don't anticipate a big learning curve. I remember when I came in 06 we were using Paragon in Florida, in Orlando where I was, to using Rapatoni. It was pretty easy. So I anticipate that being the same way. The hard part is learning Flex, and there's some differences that are not intuitive when you go from one system to the other, but you'll learn them quick enough. But again, the listing and the searching are the two things you really need to concentrate on. Please, please, please sign up for these classes. I implore you to do that. The 1 hour classes that are available are very good little nuggets for very specific things, and they're very helpful as well if you have an hour to spend on Zoom at 11 o'clock in the morning during the week.
Perfect. Thank you, Preston. We've got 4 minutes before we expect Nick Bailey to jump on. So I'm going to quickly go over what's going on with Zillow. If you've been onto anyone that cares, some of you could care less about Zillow. Some of you are really serious about your profile on Zillow. But back in the fall, Zillow became a brokerage at Elbar. You can go on Elbar and you can look up Zillow, the brokerage. It's based out of Tennessee, I believe. The broker in Tennessee has a multi-state license, meaning she's licensed in many states. And what Zillow did was they took their current staff that they had at Zillow and asked everybody who had a broker's license, what brokerage or what state are you brokered in? And then they took all those people and they lumped them together. If I was the employee at Zillow and I had a license in Ohio and Tennessee and Kentucky, then they said, okay, Christy, you're now the broker of Zillow in those 3 states. Let's go join all the major associations in those 3 states. So that's what Zillow has done. Because they did that, we by law have to give them an IDX feed. The IDX feed is the same feed that we get for our RE/MAX pages. Our RE/MAX website is the same feed that every agent is allowed to get, or every brokerage is allowed to get, to showcase all the listings from the MLS onto their websites. I think Zillow bit off a little more than they could chew in the beginning. So what has now happened is the IDX feeds have wiped out, or not wiped out, let me rephrase that. The language of the IDX feed is different than the REX feed that they used to get. So now the way that they spoke with Elbar's information feed is different, if that makes sense. So all the same information fields are not lining up and they aren't connecting. This has removed, if you've noticed, this has removed all the past sales or the majority of your past sales on Zillow. So if you go onto Zillow right now, if you go onto my Zillow right now, it shows I haven't sold a house in 2020. Well, that's wrong. And it's wrong for 99% of all of you. If you go onto Zillow right now, it may only say that you've done 7 and you've done 55. The information is incorrect. So we, as realtors, we could probably take this opportunity, because they sent out a press release that pretty much said, they sent it out to all Elbar presidents or all association presidents that said, we know there's a problem. We're not really focused on fixing that problem because we have all these other problems with this new feed that we're getting. So it might be fixed, maybe one day down the road. That was essentially what the press release said. So we might take this opportunity as realtors and direct all of our testimonials and all of our ratings and all of our feedback from clients to Rate My Agent, which is the realtor approved testimonials, and then really build up our own personal RE/MAX websites. Because as we all know, you have no control over the Zillow platform. Number two, there was an announcement in all over social media. I didn't see it till, excuse me, someone sent it to me, that ERA is becoming the new, I don't know, broker of choice for Zillow. So I called him and asked him what that meant. And he told me that what that essentially means is that ERA spends money to get leads from counties that aren't full
Here's
of realtor representations. What?
I say, here's Nick.
Oh, Nick's here. Okay, so let me finish up. So with that said, if you are a person who buys Zillow leads, or if you are someone who works the Zillow platform, don't fear, you're not going to disappear because they have a broker of choice. It's just, from what I understand, is they get leads that are unconnected to other agents in other zip codes that don't have a realtor representing that zip code. So yes, Preston.
Thing before we get Nick on here real quick. Remember that Zillow Homes is now a broker member of LBAR. When you're on social media and other places, there's still Zillow bashing out there. I'm afraid somebody's going to get fined or called down. Just my personal comment, and that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful because we can't talk about other brokerages and how they run their platforms anymore. So that eliminates anything we can say about Zillow, essentially. But in the end, you know, this might be an opportunity for all the agents to refocus how they're going to market themselves. Because if your testimonials are still there, but I was reading some threads, and I'll probably know more after the broker meeting tomorrow, but I was reading some threads online that were saying that the testimonials will soon be going away. And now the IDX feed requires that Zillow gives credit to the listing agent instead of having someone else's picture alongside there. There are 2 lawsuits right now that are going before a judge somewhere. I don't know if it's like Zillow's home state or the Supreme Court or whatever, but they are ethic-based lawsuits saying that Zillow's not following the ethics of realtors that they have to follow in order to be the member of associations. So this will all come out in 2021, I am sure. And with further ado, I'm going to pass it back to Paul so he can introduce Nick Bailey, and so I can take a breath. Okay.
Thank you. And yeah, so very excited to have Nick Bailey. So he is the Chief Customer Officer for RE/MAX. And there was something that I heard Nick say earlier that I was just really impressed by. And he says that RE/MAX is known to be a business that builds businesses. So so that kind of just gives you the mindset of RE/MAX. And yeah, Nick, if you are ready, sir, I will let you take it away.
Right on. Thanks, Paul. Hi, Christy. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I just finished up Good Morning RE/MAX this morning, so I'm still in my gear and my mug and all of that, so I didn't have time to change. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for having me pop in. This is just such a pleasure. I love doing these things. I can talk for hours and hours, but I know we don't have that much time. I know we had gone back and forth a little bit and talked about a little bit of maybe the forecast of 21. You guys just want to do Q&A. What do you want to do? Or we can talk about what you guys watched on Netflix all weekend.
Oh,
I'm sure there's some Netflix conversation. I tell you, I would really love to hear the outlook for 2021 with RE/MAX. And then if you have some time, maybe open up just a couple of questions.
Sure. There might be something I can run through in a few short minutes. Any of you on data, if I share, I have a few slides that I've been using and I think show some great information on kind of what you can expect for 21. So let me drop this in. Ta-ta. Ooh. There we go. Do you guys see 2 slides or 1?
1.
Perfect. See the one with my picture there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll run through these and give you kind of an idea. Mortgage rates, we know, right? All-time lows, and I'm just going to speed through these. And Christy and Paul, if you want a copy of these, I'll send them to you. But when we look ahead, no one thought that in 2020 we'd do as much real estate as we did, and I think 21 is going to be similar. Low rates are obviously driving it on buyer behavior, and you can see there's household income. Prices continue to rise. We expect that overall, even though real estate's local, that we'll still see some single-digit appreciation overall for the year. This is interesting too. Second home has added quite a bit. You can see this goes from January 19th to September 20th. And so we'll have some more end of the year data here coming up pretty soon. But you can see how the second home market was on the rise, but especially after the pandemic started, July, August, September, second homes continue to grow. We just had Brian Buffini on Good Morning Remax this morning. He was talking about the percentage of people expected to move, 14 to 23 million in the next year, possibly, and are moving into more outlying areas. And we think that trend's going to continue. New construction. We knew that 10 years ago during the downturn, you can see how right here, this 2010, 2011 slowed down, new construction slowly coming out of the ground. And that's helping with some of the low inventory levels. When you ask for demand though, what's causing it? First-time home buyers, millennial group being number one. Best part is they're using more agents than any other demographic, 92%, and 94% of all consumers are using an agent. The agent's not going away anytime soon. I just jumped on and heard you talk about Zillow. Some of you might know I was an executive at Zillow for about 5 years. And so it's an interesting conversation. But what else is really driving demand, or did for 2020, is the first time move-up buyer and the second time move-up buyer. Taking advantage of rates. Who knew the home office, right, was going to be the most sought after feature? And then we'll talk about how this is going to impact you in 22. Look at home prices. We know that they've continued to go up. This goes back to January 17th through October. Those are going to continue to rise. But let's look at inventory. This is one of my favorites. When you go all the way back to 1994 and you go back to like 2000, those tight inventory levels, especially when we saw foreclosures and short sales. And I've been asked a lot of questions like, are we going to start seeing those again? We've got forbearance programs for renters and owners in place. The answer is no, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But when you look back, this goes all the way back to 1982 on inventory levels, how tight they truly are. And we're going to see this continue this year, which is going to, with low rates, continue to drive pretty good demand. This is kind of what's crazy, and this is the refi market's going to start drying up this year, and it definitely will in 22 and 23 because of this. 77% of mortgages are now below 5%, 66 below 4.5%, and 49% below 4. And so as these move-up buyers are getting into these very low interest rates, getting into houses actually that are more dated, believe it or not, we believe that there's going to be a surge in the next 2 to 3 years on just home remodels because of these first time, second time move-up buyers are getting into low interest rate properties. They're getting into bigger homes, and they're willing to take less than move-in condition. And they're likely not going to move again for getting something newer. They're going to remodel as a result. Home affordability. This is interesting. Go back to 2006. 04, 5, 6, we had that run up and then obviously it declined. Affordability has been a key issue, but if you compare it to where 2006 is, we are still overall, based on all the items associated with the affordability index, affordability is still overall favorable. So that's going to work in our favor for 21 as well. Here's why no short sales or foreclosures in the immediate future. 63% of houses have positive equity. 34% of all houses in the US have no mortgage debt, and they estimate only 2% have negative. This was vastly different going into the big foreclosure short sale period a few years ago. So overall, those are kind of some of things of what we see of why 21 is going to look pretty solid this year. We're still going to have low inventory. Find those inventories. I'll skip ahead on a couple of things here. Brag on RE/MAX a little bit. The America's Best, which is Real Trends ranking of all real estate agents, 6th consecutive year, more RE/MAX agents on this list than any other company. RE/MAX agents sell 2 to 1, the average. #1 real estate brand for the 12th straight year in the Franchise Times Top 200. #1 brokerage for the 8th straight year of Entrepreneur Franchise. Talked a little bit about tech, over 80 million visits on .com. It is the most visited real estate website. And then one thing I'm going to plug right here, I just had an agent from Galveston County, Texas this morning. She did over $9 million in volume off of the First app. If you've heard of it, we can talk about it if you haven't, to find listings. And our data shows us this year that the agents using First have 38% more business than those that don't. So that's a lot. I will stop there and pause for that little quick session to maybe talk about some questions. And let me, I am stuck. You may have to stop sharing on my behalf. Ah, no, there, it popped back up. There we go. So that was a quick dump, right? And real estate's local, but that's kind of a big picture landscape of what's going on. What questions can I answer?
Could you share those slides with us?
You bet.
Thank you.
Happy to.
So because you opened up the can of worms, reminding everybody that you worked for Zillow for 5 years.
I knew that was coming.
Give us some idea of what you think this whole Zillow brokerage, and I think they're moving to like an Opcity platform slowly but surely. Give us an idea of what
my take on it. You know, when I was at Zillow, and I was with Market Leader and Truly and Zillow, so I went through that acquisition funnel. And it was interesting because I heard for years that they're going to disintermediate the agent. You know, tech, they want to replace you. They want to cut your commissions. And the answer, none of that was true. I was there when we did the acquisition of .loop, and the industry said, see, they just want to be in our business. The reality is there's an average, on average every year, real estate agents collectively spend $13 billion in marketing, whether it be to market themselves, market their listings, or just marketing in general. And they looked at it and said, of 13 billion, why can't we have 20% of that if we have the largest online audience? And the idea was not to take you out. The idea was they want it in your wallet, and they call it share of wallet. They know that if you earn more commissions, you will likely pay them more for leads. That was the whole concept. So it was interesting. While I was sitting in the boardroom at Zillow and the whole industry was saying they want to kill real estate agents, we were saying, we want real estate agents to make twice as much money, and we want to figure out who they are, because then they're going to spend twice as much money out of that 13 billion with us. So it was completely in conflict of what the most of the industry thought. So now where we are today, because of the iBuyer platforms, one of their biggest challenges is they have to put all the work on the iBuyers for CMA work and any inquiries that come from consumers back on these real estate agents and teams in the local market. So they said, hey, if we get licensed, then we can have these licensed assistants. As you know, sometimes you can't even talk about price. You can't even talk about if something's under contract unless you're licensed. And basically there's your employing agents that are independent contractors. They had two big things that were going to stop them from getting into our business as agents. One was running their site as an IDX site, which I think I came in on the heels of your discussion on that. And the second was cannibalization of their revenue. Example, if they get into the business where they're putting for sale yard signs and saying, I'm an independent contractor real estate agent with Zillow, just like you are with RE/MAX, likely every company that's or agent that's not with them would stop spending immediately. They're publicly held. It was revenue suicide. And the second piece of it is IDX rules and regs for how a website works is archaic, and it's very challenging. We as an industry, if you rewind the clock, would have done much better if we had updated our IDX rules and regs to how our websites have to work, because the portals had a major advantage on display. And we got mad because the listing agent used to be the only one. Then they added 3 more, and then they buried the listing agent. And then 97% of the traffic went to agents that paid, right? And all those things. But we're still living by the archaic rules and regs from the early 2000s. And so now that they have to go down that space, they have to build in every rule that over 600 MLSs have on display. And that's why you go to a RE/MAX.com, you go to another brand site, you'll see that listings display differently in different MLSs. because every one of them, we have to build scripts in tech to display listings based on the rules of that MLS. They didn't have to do that. Now they do, and it's significant work, and it will change the landscape of their lead distribution. And that's going to impact how leads get to you if you participate with them. But now that the two blocks are, they don't have to worry as much about cannibalization of revenue. And if they have their site fully IDX functional, it does make it much, much easier for them to entertain not just employing agents, but independent contractors if they wanted to.
So turning into more of a brokerage versus just a website where you go get information. There was a broker in our area that announced that they were the preferred agent for Zillow this last week or so. And when I called him and said, what does that mean? He said that means that all unspoken for leads we get.
Yeah, there's a broker product, there's an agent product. So they have statistically, and this is an old stat from a few years ago, but that 42% of all leads went without an answer. So one of their biggest challenges was a consumer says, hey, I'm interested in this property. 42%, at the time it was 49, it got down to 42, didn't get an answer. So the consumer would come back, or the buyer would say, oh, Zillow, we hate you. We asked for an answer and an agent never got back to us. So what they were trying to do is take those leads, they're leftover. They weren't responded to. And so they're put back into the funnel. And instead of you paying for them through Premier Agent, they would say, we'll take a referral fee off of it if you close it. And so now they looked at it and said, there's more money in the referral fee than there is paying as a Premier Agent. And so their model is moving to referral fees. And they had to build out over the last couple of years how they track the lead to close, because as agents, we're famous for saying, I'm not paying for that referral. I got it from over here, not from you. And they were trying to close that gap. But yes, they do select as brokers can go in and sign up for that product. I know agents can as well in some markets and buy those leads.
Perfect. That was my question, because they've really been pushing the score, the Zillow broker score too, or the Zillow agent score, like your contact score, whatever that is, closing score. I don't know exactly what they call it, where you have closer to 100, the better you are. Therefore, you get more of the leads in your area if you purchase a zip code. Is that right?
Yeah. So let me tell you, fast forward how this is going to go, which is right now they call it Best of Zillow, and it's based on your score. RE/MAX has the highest number of Best of Zillow agents than any brand in the United States. Of course we do. We're better agents and we respond more and we're more full-time, and there's no secret to that. However, fast forward, this is where they're going, which is consumers score you based on their experience. They are continuing to ratchet up that scoring. And if you don't meet it, they won't send you leads. It doesn't matter how big your checkbook is. The whole idea, and I think they're around 82% is the cut level right now. Our Best of Zillow, we're as RE/MAX well over 90, but fast forward a year or two from now, the concept is if consumers don't rate you as at least a 95% experience or better, it doesn't matter if you want to send them a check for $100,000, they won't send you a lead, because the consumer is their North Star. Don't ever forget that. They don't care about the broker. They don't care about the agent. They need your pocketbook to create revenue, but they care about the consumer experience. And that's why they have eyeballs on their site. And once then the consumer engages with the site, they want to make sure that agents are performing at least a 95% rating from consumers. So if you're not there, they will start cutting you out of their business.
Brenda Ayotte actually had a question. Brenda, if you want to go ahead.
Let me figure this out. Sorry. When you were speaking, you said that you didn't think that foreclosures would increase. Is that, why do you not think that?
Because with the amount of appreciation that most homes have had, and granted, real estate's local, but at a national level, when you have 34% of all homes in the US don't have a mortgage. And so those are never in line for foreclosure. We have right now one of the highest percentages of positive equity that homeowners have at 63%. 63% of all homes that are owned in the US have positive equity. And so when we ran into foreclosures, and which turned into short sales during the Great Recession, that was due to the fact that the vast majority of houses did not have positive equity. And so as prices have continued to go up, I mean, gosh, in December, year over year, prices were up in some markets 20%. We estimate anywhere from 3 to 6% price increase for 2021 for most markets. And as long as prices or values are going up, cash out refinances have not been a big thing. Most homeowners are not using their homes as ATM machines like they were during the Great Recession. They were pulling out cash, not for remodels. They were pulling out cash to buy cars. They were pulling out cash to go on vacation. And the cash out refinance is just not happened at the level that it has historically. And so if someone for a job loss, once forbearance runs out, at the point in time when some of the government support programs start to run thin or run out, we are going to see inventory come to the market of people that have to sell their home maybe because of a job loss, but they likely are still going to be positive equity. When I was talking to Ivy Zellman from Manhattan, she's one of the lead firms in this. Right now, what we have, Brenda, to your question, people are cash poor in many cases, but they're equity rich. And when you're cash poor, equity rich, and don't have a job, banks aren't going to let you pull cash out of your house. So it's when you trigger and sell it, you'll be able to get that equity out, but it's not going to put you in a foreclosure situation. That help?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I necessarily agree. It seems like people have been able to get loans just with basically nothing down. Eventually, I feel like that's going to bite somebody, maybe the bank.
You're right on some. We have gone back and seen some of the no money down, 3% down. Yes, there are low down payment loans that in time could put them in a very narrow margin for equity. But those equity or those value ranges are still going up. Now, keep in mind, foreclosures happen in every single market.
That's correct, yes.
There's the consumer behavior, which is I can't pay my mortgage, I stop opening my mail, I stop answering my phone. That's why short sales in the Great Recession didn't happen at a faster velocity, is people start ignoring it, and then they get to a point where they are foreclosed on. Those have happened in every good market, bad market, or in between, but just showing the data based on where homeowners are with their equity or no mortgage, we don't see it being a mass foreclosure event.
Okay, that's
Awesome.
good. Thank you.
Great question.
Yep. So a couple comments. Very helpful information from Hanasi. Yes, good stuff. Thank you. From Catherine Hicks and Jennifer Parsons. This is great info. Thank you.
So I have another question in regards to the pandemic. Are there any parts of the country, I know back when all this started, Pennsylvania shut down. Essentially, you couldn't function as a realtor. Are there any parts of the country that are still shut down per se, where realtors can't list and sell properties? And if so, how is that affecting decisions made anywhere else? Like, we've been open the entire time. We've been considered an essential service the entire time. So I'm just curious as to how that relates to how 2021 is going to go with the rising numbers of COVID and things like that.
Yeah, so here's what we saw. We saw parts of New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then the 5 counties around the Bay Area and San Francisco. Those have the most stringent restrictions for several months. And we helped lobby governors and things to make it essential. For the most part, real estate continues to be deemed essential. And I think part of that is, food, clothing, shelter. And we run shelter. Real estate is 15% of the national GPA or GDP. And this is very different. Real estate didn't lead us into this recession, but based on the amount of GDP that real estate accounts for, it is turning into and will continue to be one of the industries that leads us and continues to drive us out of a recession. And so there is continued interest from a lot of parties to make sure real estate continues with the mortgage world. Low rates driving so much of this behavior. They don't want it to stop. What I have seen in one state, they started to deem real estate non-essential, but when you started reading between the lines, this just happened about a month ago, they said that the agent could unlock the door, had to stay in their car when a showing took place. Then they were like, what do we do? And we said, use FaceTime. If the seller's comfortable with it, walk through the house and FaceTime so the agents don't have to be together. And counties and municipalities could continue to record deeds and mortgages. And so the items that were deemed non-essential for those states originally were limiting the activities that buyers, sellers, and agents could do together. Now what we're seeing is it's restrictions on them coming together personally, but they are still allowing the essential pieces of writing offers, using paperless, recording at the county and state level. And so we have not seen any that have just completely restricted real estate from happening. As you know, I mean, paperless and e-signature has been the biggest invention in real estate in the last 10 years, but we still, and I'm sure you do too in your area, counties were still saying blue ink, wet signatures, we won't record a deed or a mortgage. Do you know how many, so counties couldn't record anything because they couldn't go by the rules. Now we see a lot of counties that are recording via paperless and electronic signature so they can continue to allow it to be essential.
It's very interesting. So in 2021, what's the one big thing or a couple big thing that's on RE/MAX's to-do list, if there is anything?
Yeah, I am going to be busy this year. Yes, there are a number of things to do wise. One of them is obviously the way we communicate, continue to share information. I will tell you in my experience, you know, it probably took me 10 years to see hundreds of thousands of people in person on stage. It took me about 10 weeks to see hundreds of thousands of people this way. And I was watching other companies that didn't have mind shares. And it was interesting. I had a broker about 3 months in I was on a panel and they said, anyone have any resources of how we can get some support with technology? They had nowhere to go. And what we saw is we were talking to agents in Italy a month before because they were ahead of us in the pandemic. Like it's a mind share globally. So we'll continue with that. Technology continues to be a major push for us. You know, we've launched a lot of new things this year. Some of them have ramped faster, like First is a great example. We are seeing agents get tens of thousands of dollars of commissions off of that tech that they're engaging in. So that will continue. But we launched a lot of things with Booj, a brand new RE/MAX.com. Those haven't even been launched a year. So they are in a big phase 2 development. We just showed all the new commercials are available. We just showed those this morning on Good Morning RE/MAX, because here's what it's all about. It's keeping in touch with your clients. And if any of you are Brian Buffini fans, you know, with him being on, I said, yeah, but Brian, you're about handwritten notes and thank you notes and pop buys. And I said, come on, pop buys. And he said, actually, this is the best time to do it. Do like DoorDash or Uber, do a little pop by for your clients, take a picture of it, even if it's got your glove on it and say, hey, thinking of you, left you a little something. The personal touch in our business is as big as it ever could be. We have to be creative with it. Don't furlough yourself. Keeping our heads right and excited about our business is, I think, the biggest challenge. And so we're going to support that through training. We are completely revamping RU. We are announcing January 26th, a new communication platform that's mobile driven for brokers. Agents will see it in a few weeks. And then we have a couple of secret announcements coming up at R4. So plenty ahead for sure.
Fantastic. And then we have one last question. Do you see a lot of real estate transactions that are happening online without even meeting the clients face to face?
Yeah, we have seen a little bit of that. Less of it now that we've worked through the essential activities of real estate. We saw a few of those at the beginning, people buying a house sight unseen with low inventory. They were like, I'll just take it. Maybe a contingency that through an inspection they'd walk through. Here's what I think, and here's what the data shows is I don't believe that like virtual tools are going to replace the in-person viewing. Here's what I think we're seeing happening that's here to stay. Virtual tours weren't new, right? Pre-pandemic. Agents were using them less because days on market was so low, they didn't have to. Now we're seeing consumers maybe go online. They want to experience going through a home virtually. They may look at 15 or 20 homes virtually and then select to see 3 or 4 in person instead of 15. That we think is a trend that's here to stay. I firmly believe that 99% of people, when they buy homes, it's emotional. They want to see, feel, touch where they're going to live, maybe raise their family. And so I do not believe that we're moving into a space that it's going to be masses by sight unseen virtually without meeting folks. I think that that is a short-term tactic, but long-term, the vast majority of people are going to want to see, feel, touch. but they are going to expect to see you use virtual tours and tools and paperless transactions more.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you jumping on and saying hi to all of our agents here today. And that's all I got.
Of course. Hey, great to be with you. And if there's anything needs, I'll send you some of these slides if they're helpful. But I'm here for you anytime, any one of you. I'm nick@remax.com. Super easy to get in touch with. If I can do anything, let me know.
Thanks again.
Okay. Be well, everyone. Good luck.
Thanks, Nick.
So that essentially brings us to a close of our meeting. Does anyone have, we're going to get the slides from him. Paul will get those and he'll share them. He's been the one who's been in communication with Nick to get him on today. So how's your year going so far? Just curious, we've got like one more minute. Does anybody have any success stories of 2021 they want to share? None? We all freezing? I'm freezing. I need some sun and sand between my toes.
Susie, I saw you did 2 sight unseen homes as well. Have you ever done them in the past before? Those were my first 2 ever, and it was like within the same week.
I've done 2 prior to this year, but I was surprised to get 2 so close together. One of them was a relocation. The other one, the guy just said he was so busy with work that he just couldn't make it out. So both of those, I did a video walkthrough, and yeah, they purchased them sight unseen.
Well, it's also one of those things that, I mean, in which it's not apples to apples, but how many times do you go on vacation that you're in a place for a week or 2 and you're going based solely on the photos and the video, and you still go, and I mean, it's the same place, you love it.
Yeah.
Michelle asked, did Nick say he expected 20 to 21% appreciation rate this year? He said that he saw some places in 2020 that had that much appreciation, up to 20 or 21%, but that this year he expected between 3 and 6% for most of the area. And fun known fact, I know that Fayette County had almost a 7% increase in prices from 2019 to 2020. I do have some really cool facts. I'm trying to remember where I put them now that we've said that. And then there were some that were as high as 16% in Kentucky. So there was a huge wave of increase in Kentucky as well. Let me see if I can find my notes. There was some serious hold on one second. Hope I didn't throw away. There was some serious numbers that came out of the executive committee last week, and I thought, ooh, I need to share that with the agents. So listen at this. These are LBAR statistics. You might be able to use these later in your marketing. There was 500 million more dollars sold in real estate from 2019 to 2020. 500 million. That's a big old number. There was an 18% year-over-year increase from 2019 to 2020. Total units, so number of homes sold, I hate that word units, but number of homes sold, total was up 9%, but there was 7.5% fewer listings that came on the market in 2020 than in 2019. So we had more sales, more volume, yet less listings. So there's a lot of, great things coming out statistically for realtors in the year of the COVID pandemic. And it just shows you that no matter what, people need to live and move and structure changes and family changes. So there's business out there. I don't know anyone on this call that struggled in 2020, but if you ever want to sit down and talk with me about how I can help you help yourself in your business, please reach out, because there's business out there for everybody and nobody should be having a hard time. And the issue I think that we found in 2020 was that parents had to be home with kids, younger kids that stayed home due to school. And I pray for all you people in Lexington that eventually you get to send your kids back to school. It's been a long road for you. But unless anyone else has anything to say, I'll tie it up with that. I'm here to help. Paul's here to help. Kim, Melissa, we're all here to help any way we can in order to help you have a fantastic 2021. And sign up for the LBAR's 28th virtual membership update. There'll be a lot of information about Zillow on there. There'll be a lot of information about updates in our market. So if you haven't signed up for that, please be sure to do that so you can be updated.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Janice, how did the backsplash turn out?
Susie was posting her DIY. I needed to know how it turned out. I didn't see another picture of it.
We haven't put a new one up yet. We're waiting for the new countertops to be installed. next.
Okay. I was like, we saw you taking it apart. I want to see it finished.
Oh, it's a mess right now.
Okay.
I was totally confused by that. That's awesome.
Sorry.
That's okay. Well, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll definitely see you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.